Starting at fact number 10, let's look at the name of Indonesia. Well, the name Indonesia actually comes from the Latin word Indus, meaning Indian, and the Greek word Nisos, meaning island. Indonesia was originally called Indian Archipelago or East Indies Island. The name Indonesia was coined back in the 1850s by a man named James Logan, who is editor of the Singapore Published Journal of the Indian Archipelago and Eastern Asia. And he used it as a short for the equivalent of the term Indian Archipelago. Now check this. The most odorous flower on the planet is called the Amorphophallus titanum. And this is found in Indonesia, and it can grow to an average of about 2 meters high. And when it blooms, it actually releases this bad odor that people compare it to rotten meat. And the worst thing, you don't gotta be close to smell it. You can be up to half a mile away and still smell this odor. It's also known as the devil's tongue, and it was originally discovered back in the year 1878 in a rainforest of the central Sumatra island by the Italian botanist and explorer named Dr. Erordo Bacciari. Indonesia also has the largest Muslim population in the entire world. There's an estimated 225 million Muslims living in Indonesia, and that makes it the largest Muslim population in the world. Now, most people around the world probably think that Muslims are somewhere in the Arabic world, but no, a fraction of Muslims are actually Arab. Now, despite Islam being the majority religion in Indonesia, the Indonesian government also recognizes 6 religions, even though they do allow religious freedom. But those 6 main religions that they recognize are, of course, Islam, Protestantism, Catholicism, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. The country of Indonesia is also the largest island country in the entire world, both in terms of its size as well as its population. And it's made up of more than 17,504 islands. But about 6,000 of those islands are still uninhabited. And now this is not to be confused with the largest country that is an island, which is Greenland now, because Australia is classified as a continent. Those would be just like one island. What I say by largest island country is that it's made up of multiple different islands to make up that one country. And when it comes to Indonesia, there are 5 major islands in the Indonesian archipelago, an additional 30 smaller groups which are inhabited also. New Guinea and Sumatra are some of the largest islands in the world, all in Indonesia. Now, when it comes to money and finances and the rich and the poor, there is a big gap between poor people and rich people in Indonesian society. So check this, about half of the population are estimated to live on less than $2 US per day, which is about the same as roughly 28,000 Indonesian rupiah. Now, the average wage in the country on a whole is just $280 US. Now, in the entire Indonesia, there are 300 distinct ethnic groups with their own language and culture. So it's very rich, it's very diverse, and the largest ethnic group are the Japanese, Sudanese, Malay, and Madris. Also, another interesting fact, this is probably one of the most interesting facts, is that Indonesia is a very unique country, like I mentioned, but despite being a modern country and having a modernized capital city, Jakarta, experts actually estimate that there are still over 100 uncontacted tribes living in the rainforests of Indonesia. And now the majority of these isolated tribes are living on the island of New Guinea and other islands in the eastern part of the country. Now guys, did you know that Indonesia has the most amount of volcanoes than any other country in the world? The country surpasses Japan, it surpasses the United States, and the country is also #1 in the world in terms of having the largest amount of active volcanoes. Now check out this guy right here, the Komodo dragon. You've probably seen these animals before. Well, yeah, they can be found in Indonesia, and they can actually eat humans whole. Yeah, but yeah, don't worry though, you're probably not going to run into these guys in the wild because they are protected and you can find them in the country's national parks, specifically on the Komodo Island, which of course the dragon is named after. The Komodo dragon is the world's largest living lizard. And the final fact I want to share with you about Indonesia is that Indonesians are some of the world's shortest people on average. So as the facts say that Netherlands is home to the tallest people in the world on average, you'll find the shortest people on average in Indonesia. The average height of a person living in the Indonesian archipelago is 1.58 meters, and that works out to be 5 feet and 1 inch tall.
Now right now guys, you are looking at the map of Indonesia. Now it is made up of a lot of islands, but there's there's been a lot of arguments of how many islands Indonesia is made up of. Well, according to the National Coordinating Agency for Survey and Mapping, they say that Indonesia is made up of 13,466 islands. Holy crap, that's a lot. Now, that data was taken from 2007 to 2010, but however, a 2002 study disagrees with that. This was done by the National Institution of Aeronautics and Space Agency, and they state that there is 18,307? Oh yeah, and the CIA World Factbook states that there's actually 17,508. So I'm looking at this, I'm like, how can all of these be so incorrect from each other? Well, this is because some of these studies have been taken during low tides, and when the water goes down, some sandbars appear as islands. However, the Indonesian government says that the whole country is made up of 8,844 islands. That's because those islands have been named, and about 944 of them actually have people on it. Now, have you ever heard of Java men? No, I'm not talking about guys that are like, yo man, I need my mother freaking coffee right now! They were actually a form of Homo erectus that lived in Indonesia 1.5 million years ago to 35,000 years ago. Now, they were the first form of human-like life on the islands, but Homo sapiens, they didn't come until about 45,000 years ago. The Kwahalijen volcano in East Java, Indonesia, is one of the rarest volcanoes on the entire planet. This is because the volcano spews out blue flames. Now, this isn't some magic trick, no voodoo crap going on, and no, aliens ain't doing anything. It actually has to do with sulfur. The volcano is filled with it, and that's why the flames come out blue. Even some of the lava looks blue. It's really cool to see. Now, if you thought blue flames were out of this world, check this plant out. It is huge. Look at it. It could eat that person's head in one giant bite. This form of flower is called the Rafflesia arnoldi, and it is found only on the island of Sumatra. It is the largest individual flower on the entire planet, and it's actually called the corpse flower. This is because, well, it smells like rotting flesh. I thought flowers were supposed to smell really nice. Now let's just crack this one. You guys probably already know that Indonesia has a lot of people. Although Indonesia has a land mass of 1.905 million square miles compared to the United States, which has, well, over 9 million square miles, Indonesia has 249.9 million people living in it. That's got to be crowded. As a matter of fact, it is crowded. They estimate that there's 134 people living per square mile. Now, during the Second World War, Indonesia was occupied by Japan. And during that occupation, the United Nations reported that over 4 million people had died from forced labor and even famine. Now, unfortunately, here's a fact that is not going to make Indonesia look amazing, but it is a true fact. Indonesia is one of the highest polluters of CO2 emissions. As a matter of fact, it's about third in the entire world. The reason for this is because they have the largest metro area of population with no metro system, so no public transport. And without a good public transportation system, everybody practically drives everywhere. I don't know about you guys, but do you put this thing on your French fries? You know, ketchup? By the way, if you guys put ketchup on your French fries, hit that like button, because I know I do and I love it. But the name for ketchup comes from an Indonesian word. As a matter of fact, it's an Indonesian delicacy called kecap, which is sweet soy sauce, and they put that stuff on a lot of dishes. As a matter of fact, it's one of the most popular sauces in all of Indonesia. Now, lastly, they call the area of Indonesia the Ring of Fire. Now, it has nothing to do with the amount of spices and sauces that they use in their food, but it's because in that location there are 400 volcanoes, with at least 150 of them being active in Indonesia. Now, these go all the way from the East Pacific to the West Pacific Ocean, and because of all these volcanoes, they cause 4 earthquakes a day. That would suck balls. Like, Los Angeles don't even have it that bad. Speaking about volcanoes, let's talk about one of the biggest ones, the Toba supervolcano. It was a supervolcano that erupted around 75,000 years ago. Now, where the volcano is, it's considered Lake Tabo. But not only at that time, but even to this day, it is one of the largest volcanic explosions in Earth history. This eruption created what they call the Toba catastrophe theory, and it was so big that it created a 6 to 10 year volcanic winter. Now, for those who don't know what volcanic winter is, it's where the volcano throws up so much dirt, debris, and ash that it causes the sun to reflect a lot of its heat, thus making the earth a lot cooler. Although they think that volcanic winter lasted 6 to 10 years, it also created a possible 1,000-year cooling period. But how big was it? Well, it was so big that after the explosion, there was about 15 centimeters of ash all over South Asia. And some of that even went into the Indian Ocean.